Episode 800. In the arena, unless there's a bet on the line, it's just a simple win or loss. But in field combat, every single clash is a gamble. The loser loses experience and equipment, which means field combat demands far stronger mental fortitude than arena fights. Fight too much in the arena, and winning or losing both go numb. But out in the wild, with that pressure always on you, you never get numb. So a fair number of players had no interest in the orderly duels of the arena. They preferred to hunt out in the wild.
Could this guy really be a master who trained up like this?
Wolfhead Garlic was starting to feel afraid. Compared to the arena, field battles usually involve far more complex situations, and they're rarely fought on completely fair terms. Either you have the advantage, or you're at a disadvantage. In short, players who cut their teeth in the wilds were far better at handling complex, disadvantageous situations than those who came up through the arena. Compared to the field veterans, arena-bred players were a bit like hothouse flowers. After deducing that Invincible Most Handsome was a field battle expert, Wolfhead Garlic, who had already admitted to himself that his skills were inferior, grew even more timid. His attacks were far less fierce than Shengshi Haoran's earlier onslaught. Shi Ji Yang, standing off to the side, was a bit lost himself. He found it bizarre that this PK had turned out like this. He might not have Wolfhead Garlic's battle-hardened PvP experience, but as a veteran player he could at least see clearly that this whole situation was entirely thanks to Invincible Most Handsome's direction. But whether this outcome was due to his deep PvE expertise or genuine PvP skill, Shi Ji Yang couldn't quite tell. Now this is the most bog-standard, run-of-the-mill stand-and-spank mob grinding you'll ever see. With his nerve completely broken, Garlic Head didn't even have the will to go all out. He just kept tapping away at Invincible Southpaw with a listless rhythm, his attacks devolving into a mindless, stationary grind. The clang of plate armor dragged the PK to a new peak of tedium. Stationary combat is the simplest and the most tedious. And at this point, there's clearly no room for any more surprises. Everyone was waiting for Tan Zhao Lang to fall. Once he did, this match would all but be over. The crowd didn't have to wait long. Tan Zhao Wolf, who had made being cut down his sole mission since entering the arena, finally fell, and in that moment, Wolfhead Swan was utterly crushed. He stopped attacking, conceded defeat, and withdrew from the match. The arena fell into an awkward silence. No one expected a PK that started with such a blistering back-and-forth pace, one that actually got the crowd fired up to end like this. Flat, simple, no climax whatsoever. Everyone held their breath at the start, but the finish never let them exhale. It just lodged that breath right in their throats. This was a truly terrible match. Both the winner and the loser felt the same way. It just wasn't satisfying enough.
Captain, let me take a shot.
Some in the Wolfpack felt this loss was inexplicable, a disgrace. To vent that frustration, someone stepped forward, volunteering for a rematch. As for the Wolfhead Garlic, perhaps only he, who was right there in the thick of it, truly understood the helplessness of that situation. He knew exactly how things would unfold, knew exactly what he needed to do to change it, and he even tried. Yet in the end, he couldn't make even the slightest difference. Maybe he should have just attacked Shi Ji Yang instead. Sure, he would have lost in the end anyway, but at least it wouldn't have left him with this suffocating internal injury of a defeat, one so frustrating he couldn't even spit out the blood stuck in his chest. As for the remaining players who volunteered to fight, Wolfhead Garlic didn't know what to say. He understood how they felt. If he had been watching a match like that from the sidelines, he would have wanted to step in and change the momentum too, because from an outsider's perspective, they probably had plenty of ideas for how to interrupt Invincible's streak. But only when you step onto the field yourself do you realize every idea is just a fleeting cloud. Wolfhead Garlic had tried every trick he knew, but the decisive blow was always blocked by that shield.
No need.
Wolfhead Garlic let out a sigh.
It's useless.
Captain, you two share the same class. He knows the Knight playbook inside out. Swap someone else in, and it wouldn't play out like this.
Just then, someone spoke up. At those words, Wolfhead Garlic Eyes felt a jolt in his heart. Right. I'd been so focused on how he kept reading my moves that I completely overlooked the obvious: we're the same class. Because they understood each other too well, fights between the same class tended to be dull and tedious, with poor entertainment value. Although fighting to the point of standing still like statues was a bit much, given they were the same class, Wolfhead Garlic suddenly found this explanation pretty convincing.
Let me give it a try.
The Wolfpack players were fairly disciplined. With their leader yet to give the order, none of them took it upon themselves to issue a reckless challenge. Over on the Joyful Sheep squad, it was unexpectedly quiet too. They won, sure, but it wasn't a spectacular win. It had no momentum. It was like knocking over a minor guard mob at the dungeon entrance and then everyone shouting, "Great job." Something just felt off. The Joyful Sheep and Wolf clans were still under the banner of tyrannical dominance after all. Their rivalry was, by and large, a healthy one. They weren't true enemies. They didn't just chase the final result or the ultimate reward. They needed the process. But now, the process had been far too ordinary, leaving them feeling unsatisfied. Going to rub it in felt pointless. So, they had won, yes. But it hadn't occurred to them that taunting the Wolf clan would make this victory a much more interesting affair.
Invincible and handsome, you dare fight me.
Just then, someone from the Wolf Pack finally stepped up to issue a challenge. The Joy Sheep squad hadn't gained much satisfaction from their victory, but the Wolf Pack had certainly been left with a bitter taste. They were itching to blow off some steam.
So, after watching that match, you still want to fight me?
Invincible Handsome replied.
Nonsense.
Is that really necessary?
Wudi Zhu Junlong gave a rather unexpected answer. Shi Zhiyang and the others had assumed he'd just barge in without consulting the team at all.
Hey, you win and you think you can just run.
The other side started trying to pull aggro.
You think that last round was too plain? That winning wasn't flashy enough?
Right. If it were me.
If it were you, it would be the same.
Come on, show me what you've got.
By then, this man had already entered the arena. He was a launcher, and he'd brought a cleric in with him.
Last time, though.
Invincible Most Handsome called out to the Joy Sheep squad as he queued up and entered the arena.
Hey, just grab any cleric.
I'll do it.
In the end, it was Shi Ji-young who stepped up personally.
Are you ready?
Let's begin.
The match began, and the launcher player immediately seized the initiative, attacking on the draw. But Wudi Zui Junlang sidestepped with a slight dodge and activated Night Spirit, a setting in the arena where all skill cooldowns reset at the start of a new round. Night Spirit activated, he charged immediately. The launcher was ready, leaping up to blast away, but never expected Invincible Handsome's charge to arc, an impossible curve that intercepted him mid-flight. Without pause, he followed up with a valiant charge. He curved past the launcher, continuing his arc. The cleric never saw it coming, never imagined he could twist toward him. The cleric tried to dodge, too slow. The hit landed. Then, with a righteous heroic leap, both enemies were slammed together. Wudi Zui Junlong spun back with a shield bash. The launcher was stunned on the spot. Wudi Zui Junlang spun around and unloaded his skills onto the cleric.
Already pulled the next group?
This familiar scene drew the same comment from every spectator.